Fnatic on the blue side, BDS on the red side. It's Pantheon, Wukong, and Trundle banned out so far.
Yes, and this Trundle prio has been something that has been increasing. We see all these AD skirmishers kind of being taken out early. My eyes are still on the Varus that is still up and available. Has been banned a lot on the red side. Gwen being target banned towards Oscarinin maybe is telling of an early Xante or Sion pick that has been increasing in prio globally.
Varus actually banned out in every single LEC game so far. Only 3 times on the blue side, 16 times on the red out of those 19 games that we played. By taken away by Fnatic. We'll see if BDS can sign Varus to the bench once again.
I remember when I scrimmed or played Fnatic last year, we didn't think Upset was very comfortable on the Varus. I remember, so one of our strategies was we give them Varus because he didn't seem like he prioritized it as much. Upset obviously being very good on the Jinxes, the Aphelios, all the Yunara's champions. We'll see here, does he actually go for the Varus? Because now BDS is just inviting him to take that power pick that is banned globally almost every single game.
Yeah, it would be a surprise if we don't see Fnatic picking it up. Even if you're not the most comfortable on Varus, he is just the strongest AD carry when it comes to competitive play right now. He gives you good poke, he has good damage if you need it in terms of going for the on-hit build, also strong in the laning phase, can get lane prio whenever he wants, has crowd control on his ultimate, has a little bit of self-peel with that ultimate as well. It's locked in. No real surprises there. Sion is the answer from BDS alongside Aphelios for Ice.
Yeah, I mean, Varus really is Mr. Perfect. Ice had a great performance on the Aphelios. Kind of want to pair that up with a Fresh. Wonder if we're going to see another top lane pick here against the Sion. Rumble, something being quite common, is not that comfortable to play into Sions. Usually we see a bit more Ambessa, but my eyes are on the jungle matchup because there's a Pantheon ban, there's a Trundle, Vi, and Wukong ban. So either you now go into the tank junglers or you try to skirmish, find those last skirmish junglers like the Jarvan or the Zhao that are still up and available, as Fnatic rightfully does.
Yeah, there's the Jarvan locked in already for Fnatic, so they're going for something that can have that impact in the early game, but also very powerful in team fights. You've already got quite a lot of AoE crowd control coming out from the side of Fnatic. On top of that, put a Rumble in there with the Equalizer. It is going to be very difficult to deal with Fnatic's team fight in the early mid game. You know, there's a kind of 1.5 to 2 item spikes, whereas later on BDS will get tanky. Obviously the Sion can tank up for quite a while. The Aphelios is going to do a lot of damage, and with the Moonlight Vigil can actually enact some of that DPS from range.
I would not be surprised to see a Fresh right now. It's a classic Jarvan counter because obviously you pick Jarvan against all these immobile mid lane champions like the Aphelios and the Viktor coming out. So now you're kind of walking into the Jarvan very willingly, and I assume Fnatic can now take away the Fresh if they want to, going into 4-5, and kind of interesting choice to go for the Viktor now blind when the Jarvan is there, when the Rumble is there. It's not a comfortable Viktor game to play, I would say.
It is going to be a tricky one. We've seen Poby bringing out the Orianna a couple of times so far. I would like something a little bit more aggressive in the laning phase for him here. When you have a Jarvan, if you can get that Viktor's flash early, then you can just successively kill that Viktor on repeat. It is something Nuke's very comfortable on. He's very happy to play these control mages in the mid lane, but mid lane matchup is definitely somewhere our eyes are drawn to in this game. Yone banned away, Thresh taken away by Fnatic. BDS getting rid of the Yone. It's part of that all-in potential, but also an AD mid with an AP top is a tale as old as time in League of Legends competitive play.
It's very true, Medic.
Thanks.
I'm thinking about the Annie right now for Poby. I think it's something he showed great prowess on in the previous week. Nico being taken out for Mikyx. Obviously being a little rat with the little cannon minion trick. He's very competent using that for early tower dives, and this kind of gives Poby and Mikyx like a lot of swing room because they're not getting targeted. They're getting one champion banned each, which doesn't mean that their pools are so concentrated. So now you can kind of see what they're going to go for. But first we have the pick of BDS as the Poppy is being taken away.
I mean, the Poppy being banned kind of pushes you towards a Rel, possible Nautilus or Rakan coming out from the side of Fnatic. They want someone that can have that follow-up engage on the Jarvan. Rakan actually works really well when someone else is already initiating for you, because you just E to them, you press your R, you don't have that lockout on your W or your flash actually stopping you from getting the charm off immediately. So wouldn't be surprised at all if Fnatic decide to go towards the Rakan, something Mikyx's really comfortable on, gives him great agency in the early game as well.
Yeah, I mean, We do see the Shincha being locked in here by BDS, and I think it makes sense. It's the last kind of skirmish jungler still in the pool. You could go for a Sedge or Maokai. It doesn't really work that well with Viktor and Sion. You kind of want something to take a little bit more agency in the river skirmishes. Rel might be a better pick than Rakan. The thing with Rakan blind is that you can be a little bit weak in the laning phase.
That's true.
You have Varus to kind of help you in the laning phase, get through that, but maybe they want something to kind of put more pressure on Ice and Parus in the lane, because I know when Fnatic works at their best, it is through that bot lane. When Upset and Mikyx has agency in their lane, that's usually when the magic happens.
I 100% agree with that, and it looks like that is what they're going for. Some aggression in the form of the Alistar. BDS could look to a Braum here if they wanted, could look for their own Rakan as well if they want some engage for themselves. Braum obviously better at disengaging, but will struggle into things like a Jarvan and the Equalizer because he can't block the ability for them to actually get on towards his backline that easily.
I mean, I'm really scared for the carries of BDS this game, because you have a Viktor and an Aphelios with only Rakan as peel versus a Jarvan, an Alistar, and a Rumble. And they're all going to dive you and lie down that red carpet with Rumble ult. And I feel like BDS kind of has to be the one to pull the triggers first, because if they let Fnatic engage on them, I really struggle to see how they will put out a lot of damage to combat that engage. So really in their court right now.
So how are BDS going to pull the trigger? Because I look at it, I see Unstoppable Onslaught is a possible, but it's quite easy to walk away from, unless it's very short range. You have the Jin Zhao dashing in, have Rakan follow-up, but their CC isn't as hard as a Flag and Drag, a Headbutt Pulverize, a Chain of Corruption.
I mean, it's very important you play for your lanes, right? You gotta make sure your Viktor can rotate safely for the river. You can't really leave him on the side lane alone. Thankfully, Sion will be quite self-sufficient in a side lane, and he's not gonna have a lot of hovers, which will allow them to kind of make sure Nuke is safe, put on a nice vision line, and kind of make sure he can get the damage done and get those items that he needs to kind of carry the fights later on. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see like a tankier Viktor build or a little bit of a Sonias coming out, just to make sure he doesn't get done. You go lethality, you go to comment, obviously you base on like a straight Dirk, and you're going to have a lot more lane prowess. You can have a lot more base damage in laning phase, and it allows you to push your lead a little bit more than, because you're not going to get that many lethal tempo procs in the laning phase. So he has chosen the comment, and I assume we're going to see a lethality. I think they have enough damage in the team. They don't need to rely on him to put out all the damage.
Yeah, my expectation is Fnatic will force around objectives. They will go for the plays, they'll go for the skirmishes. You want to, when you have things like a Jarvan, when you have a Rumble, when you have the Alistar as well. Both the supports going for the Unsealed Spellbook. It's Domination secondary for Parus, probably going for that sudden impact, deep ward, whatever it is, on the Rakan. Can also run sudden impact if you want. Does just give you that little bit more damage. Upset moving up towards the mid lane, perhaps looking just for a piercing arrow through Nuke, and now Nuke has lost 100 HP and will be slightly behind in the lane.
Mana flow, baby.
Oh yeah.
I have a Conqueror on the Rumble as well. I assume when I see the Conqueror, we're gonna get this like triple mask build. You're gonna get the Leandris, you're gonna get the Riftmaker, you're gonna get the Bloodletter's Curse. And you're gonna try to contest a little bit more on the side lane, because what happens with Rumble if you go full AP, and then you go on the side lane against the behemoth that is Sion with a Kinnick Rookern, your entire combo is that Rookern shield, or maybe the Soul Furnace as well. So now at least you can maybe play for the second, third Flame Spitter or Flame Heater. I don't know the name of that ability.
Flame Spitter was right.
Flame Spitter was right, damn, I got it. The second or third rotation of that spell, and then you can actually kind of go through that plating of Sion, but yeah.
It's also not Oscar's main job, right? Like, trying to do damage to the Sion on the lane, he will try. He probably won't get that much damage down, but Oscar's more about putting pressure on Nuke and Ice, these low mobility carries on the backline with that Equalizer, allowing Razork to jump in with the Cataclysm, as we see Ice and Parus trading down towards that bottom side. For anyone who missed it earlier on, Fnatic have locked top 4 in their group. Congratulations to them. If they win this game, they will be still sitting atop that group at 3-0. It'll be very difficult for most teams to catch them. I think there is a way that we could have 3 teams at 3-1. With if G2 win and BDS win their last 2, we'd have 3 teams at 3-1, which means Fnatic wouldn't automatically be locked top 2, which is why we can't say if they win this game, this series, that they're already in that top 2.
That's right. Yeah, that is absolutely right, Medic.
Thank you.
Masterfully calculated.
It was poorly presented, but masterfully calculated. I'll take that.
See, Upset already taking the prio in this lane, which is kind of expected. I mean, you're a Rakan connoisseur. How do you like the Alistar matchup? I feel like it's not that easy to go for aggressive W's in the laning phase unless you have a level lead.
For the Rakan? Yeah, it's really difficult to go in, because if you go in and you don't get the knock-up, and even if you do get the knock-up, you're getting knocked up yourself, and then you can always just be slammed back towards the enemy's tower. Then it's a long way back to your Aphelios, so you're going to take more damage on the trade. Often you're trying to just trade with Gleaming Quill, look for some healing, keep your AD carry popped up, hope that he trades in effectively. I also don't really like Rakan into Alistar later in the game, because if you go for an engage, it's really easy for the Alistar just to be a meat shield and just look to knock you away, look to get in your face. It's so tricky actually for the Rakan without a cleanse, which he can get off the Unsealed Spellbook, to be effective at getting onto that backline.
Yeah. And we actually, speaking of the cleanse, we do see a cleanse from Ice this game, which is, I mean, I'm a little bit confused because I see only really a Razork, maybe an Alistar stun or a Poby snare that he wants to cleanse. I feel like you're giving up a little bit of that lane fighting power, and then really will be a slow laning phase, I think, from this Rakan Aphelios. They don't really have any combat summoners.
I don't think it's going to be slow from them. I don't think it's going to be slow for them, because they've already locked up as Razork looked for the gank early on. Completed his first clear, went down towards the bottom side, and we talked about playing through Upset and Mikyx. That's exactly what Fnatic want to do.
I mean, the only thing he can't cleanse is suppresses and death. Sadly, he can't get out of that one. Has a TP back here from the Rooster, going for the swap here. This is something Genji does a lot, actually, when I watch them games. Sometimes
die in lane and then swap?
Yes, sometimes Ruli would just die to dive like this, and then he would just go top, and the lane state would be so comfortable. Sion is going to be really happy right now to see pushed out top lane, and he has a little bit of a CS lead, and he really wants to keep matching the Rumble, though, so now Rumble is going to run after him. But now you have this slow push on BDS, and you can kind of dictate the wave now. Despite them dying, he will be fine.
The problem is, though, Upset has TP. So it's actually much harder to control the lane state than it would be if that was a traditional AD carry set of summoner spells. He just teleports back in, can start using the piercing arrow to chip away at some of that, some of those minions. Mikyx walks around to make sure they're covered in terms of vision control as well.
Yeah, eyes on the bounce here. BDS really wants to get his crash out, but Shincha wants to go and get his bot side camps. So it's a pure 2v2 right now, and I feel like BDS, by their positioning, they look a little bit scared of Fnatic.
Understandably so. You've already got the tier and a longsword for Upset. There is a longsword on the side of Ice, so it's only a tier difference, but it is tricky for that bot lane to really withstand the pressure. Boukada's going to clear out some of the vision that Mikyx laid down in his jungle. Both the junglers pathing down towards that bottom side. As on the rest of the map, Honor's relatively even. It looks like Razork's going back up towards the top side. Could just be going for a repeat gank here. No camps for him to take. Not that he would be entirely aware of that.
Yeah, he's gonna loop all the way around there, try to push this wave up. You see already Poby roaming up with the ult ready to available. They want to go for a second dive here. I don't think they can defend it.
And there's no TPs for BDS as well. So this is a 4v2 in the making. Ice with the root under the tower, but Mikyx wasn't tanking. A great double knockup. Mikyx might fall to the tower shot. He will, but it's 3-1 in favor of Fnatic. They have found the weakness in BDS, and they are punishing.
And a beautiful rotation by Poby, including himself in the play, and this is the problem with the Varus. You don't give Varus because he's just such a strong lane bully, and despite you counterpick in the support, you don't actually counterpick a stronger matchup.
Flash away from Oscarinin. I think he did have to flash from the unstoppable onslaught, but in the end, it's just an exchange of that ultimate for the flash.
Yeah, but the thing is, you don't want to get to 1 HP here, because then maybe you can't catch it way after. Now he'll be fine. He has the equalizer. He'll probably get a base up, but look at this play again. Really well constructed here by Fnatic. Mikyx has a double knockup. Razork got a double knockup. Maybe Mikyx could have gotten out a little bit faster, but you take this. You're happy as a Fnatic fan if you see this. You see massive gold influx on Upset. Already 700 gold lead, and game is looking good if you're a Fnatic fan.
Oh, they'll be really happy with how this has gone. I think Mikyx could have walked away if he hadn't gone for the headbutt afterwards, and they'll be okay because Parus picks up the kill, so it's not even gold going into the pockets of that Aphelios. And this is exactly what we said Fnatic wanted to do from the draft. Early aggression, early skirmishes, use the Jarvan. Oscarinin is going to be left on an island. His job is just to farm the waves and eventually come to team fights with the Leandries or a couple of Haunting Geysers.
Guess who's back?
Back again. Is it Shady?
It's Shady Razork here looking for a Krug. He's just making sure BDS can't get a clean crash here. They will just take the base when the wave is bouncing, and gonna try to get a little bit of a tempo advantage, but it really blows because now you might drop one wave here, or at least you're gonna have to catch it. Does look for another swap, but I feel like they're just playing on the back foot all the time. They're just running after waves, trying to get a little crumb of money. get the items.
It's just so tricky for BDS because they've built a scaling composition. Aphelios Viktor is not early damage unless someone dives you and you've got red-white, right? That's the only situation really in which you're going to win out on trades. Now they're having to move away again from Upset and Mikyx. And Upset and Mikyx already on their way down towards the bottom side of the map. Grubs are up though. BDS did manage to pick up the first dragon of the game earlier. Expectations are that Razork should just be able to get those grubs relatively uncontested. I'm not really surprised that Fnatic have decided to play through the Upset win con, because last week he had an absolute stormer. Ended up 26-6 and 28, was ahead at gold at 14 minutes, ahead in damage per minute difference. That's not his, like, I can't express it enough how big 200 extra damage a minute is for an AD carry. His enemy AD carry is doing 200 less damage a minute of the game than he is.
This is a complete machine, and here you see the annoying thing you get into, because now Razork, he did a bot gank, and then Mikyx and Upset was freezing again. And BDS have all the players bot sides kind of help push him out, but Razork, he's not there anymore. Now he's doing grubs on the other side of the map, but it's just like the threat of Razork being there forces BDS to send everyone down to use Protect Ice so you can get one little wave of XP and gold. And now it's just gonna snowball into this really negative kind of mush of unpleasantness.
Yeah. It's a negative mush of unpleasantness. I agree with you. That's what BDS are thinking. And if you are them, you are just trying to slow the game down. They've done an okay job of that. It hasn't been enjoyable for Ice or for Parus, but moving the AD carry and the support away from the lanes, away from the matchups consistently is allowing them to stabilize a little bit. They haven't died in a couple of minutes, which is more than can be said for the first few minutes of the game, as they had a bullseye on their backsides from Fnatic and from Razork. Parus is looking for Oscarinin, no flash, remember, there's the quickness, unstoppable onslaught into the decimating smash, Wind becomes lightning, and Oscar becomes fish food. Dead as BDS pick up their second of the game. Good wave play though with the equalizer means that they can't push for anything more.
Slight souls for BDS. I mean, Rooster forced his flash earlier, so which means it's a very easy kill if you have some members on that screen. Oscar a little bit overzealous there. Probably just could have equalized the wave and walk away and be happy with his life. Now he dies, but it's not really gonna. It's not gonna change the fact that Upset is just taking over this game. This is a small step for a bigger ladder to climb.
Ice stepping forward a little bit here. Mikyx has snuck his way in behind. Ice has the flash. Flash early from Mikyx. That's a pulverized knockup. Ice has the cleanse. Will use it from the trample. Chain of corruption with a piercing arrow not connecting. So Ice now summonerless. Mikyx will have his sums back up quicker because of that unsealed spell book.
Oh, here's Razork and Poby. They're coming again. Look at them going into the bot side jungle together, and they really want to make lives. Ice's life.
It's just a living nightmare.
A living nightmare, you couldn't have said it better.
Yeah, they want to put him on ice as they try and step in, but because they're not quite sure exactly where Boukada is, they can't really go for too much more. BDS once again protecting their AD carry enough to stop the dive from fully materializing. Razork comes back around, expecting Boukada to have moved away because of the time he would have had to spend around here would have been too much of an investment. Poby's going to spot Nuke on the move across. And in the end, I expect the dive to be called off. Razork just putting a flag in the bush to spot if anyone's waiting there.
Yeah, but Razork doesn't have to do anything. He just has to sit there. And every single time Fnatic pushes this wave, they get a little plate, they get a little chunk on the tower, and they're just waiting for this dragon to spawn in 5 seconds. And they're just completely happy just sitting here, because every single time Razork is here, Boukada has to be there as well to protect them. And now Boukada went for a recall to get his item. That means Ice and Parus has to base and drop this tower, as well as the Drake afterwards. And
it might just be the full tower with the grubs. No one really here to defend, as you say. First tower of the game will go over to Fnatic, sharing the plate gold, but you can see a 1.2k gold lead will materialize on that Varus. And you wonder why it's been banned out 19 times in a row so far. Perhaps this is why.
Yeah, but I think for any aspiring pro player that wants to improve how to snowball for both, I think this game is a blueprint.
Sure.
I think Fnatic has done it masterfully, made every right call in the bot lane. Oscarinin here, maybe in danger again, but
all the aspiring top laners like, how do we snowball through bot lane? Okay, all I have to do is get killed twice because they keep just investing in killing me. But my bot lane is winning. I'm sure you've felt that experience, haven't you, Finn?
I've made a career out of it.
that and being replaced by other one.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Wow, okay, now it got really hostile here, man. Okay.
Well, I mean, I'm saying you cast first, and then he comes in and casts with Dracos?
Yeah, that is just... I can't
just not cricket, is it,
yeah,
Finn?
That's
just
not cricket.
Still a 2,000 goal lead for Fnatic. Overall, they've got those first items completed. They get the Infernal Drake. They're going to move their Varus into the mid lane to continue to apply pressure there with Rift Herald up in about 2 minutes' time. Expect to see Mikyx pathing towards that top side jungle and just getting as much vision down as possible.
Yeah, eyes on the Herald now. It's going to be in 140 roughly, and I think we're going to see Fnatic do kind of a similar thing. They're just going to let Razork do his clear, and then he's going to sit behind Upset or Poby, and they're just going to sit and terrorize all of BDS in the top side jungle. They're going to try to get everything they can and really squeeze out as much as they can from this goal lead.
It's also why clearing out vision, just where Mikyx has cleared it out in these sorts of areas, is so important. Not only because you can't be TP flanked then, but also because it allows Poby just to path back this way, go into his own jungle, into the Fog of War, and he has the Realm Warp. So because he's in Fog, he's always a threat. Oscarinin didn't have vision on the bottom side of the map, and he's going to die for the third time this game. Good play from BDS. They know all of Fnatic's investment is on the top side, and although they are still bleeding through that AD carry role, like Oscarinin is their punching bag right now.
I mean, Oscarinin has to look up the definition of insanity, I think. I think he has to play a little bit more safe.
Wait, you say he shouldn't just continue to push up with no vision?
I mean, I think maybe he can start farming with E when Boukada is not really showing. I mean, I think it is fine, because Fnatic is kind of getting something on the back end of that play, but still, you gotta be a little bit more careful, because Sion does scale. They don't have that good tank shooting damage as the Varus is going to fatality. You can't disrespect this Sion too much, because I mean, he can take over this game as well. You gotta be mindful of those.
Oh, I 100% agree with you. Yeah. Right? There's the possibility that if Fnatic don't just continually snowball this game, if they lose a Drake, if they lose a Rift Herald fight somehow, at that point you're looking at the Sion and you're saying, how do we deal with this? We've got a Ryze who can output quite a lot of damage. We have a non-on hit, what's it called? A poke, that's the one. A poke Varus, which isn't going to do too much work against a Sion. At that point, it is really tricky to work your way through that top lane tank. For now, though, Fnatic setting up towards this bottom side of the map, which confuses me slightly considering Rift Herald's on the top. Mikyx's going to go in onto Parus. Boukada's there, he can battle dance away. They're realm warping towards Nuke, so they're just looking for the pick. Poby flashes in, Rune Prison onto Nuke. Oscarinin will burn him. And I feel like perhaps Fnatic... have you ever heard of a mental gank? That felt a little bit like a mental gank there for Oscarinin.
A pat on the shoulder.
Yeah, it's like, hey mate, we understand you've been struggling a little bit. Let's just give you a kill, get you into a position where perhaps you don't feel like you're just a punching bag.
That's also a good fundamental to have. If you feel like the game is hard on 3 lanes, just make the map smaller. Play on 2 lanes, give 1 tower or like 1 side push, and just make sure that at least... Came down from the moon, Mikyx.
We're going up, 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 it's our moment. He just flies up.
Oh my god.
Good old K-pop Demon Hunters. Yeah. I don't think we've referenced that enough on the podcast. Yeah. We should. Oh, Parus caught out a little bit here. Razork was looking for the knockout.
Flanking cow.
Parus goes in, gets knocked back. There's no one here to help him.
It's a flanking cow! Oh my god!
It's the flank steak if I've ever seen one.
Oh, you silly man.
As opposed to you shouting flanking cow. Fnatic are in such control of this game, guys. 3,000 gold ahead. They're going to get the Rift Herald. Mikyx with good vision control up towards the top side. I mean, they do catch out the Rakan. Dragon up in 1 minute's time. Expect to see the Rift Herald put down in that mid lane, because that's one thing Fnatic haven't really got as much of as they'd want right now. Towers. Haven't managed to take down the top tower yet. Mid lane tower still standing. It's very low, and so they should be able to take it pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably going to do something like this. They're probably just going to push out bot lane 1 time, if I can draw soon. Nice. They're going to push out here, and then he will rotate here, and then whoever is mid is going to rotate here, and then they put Herald here, and now you have this formation when you have 1 guy on mid and 4 people on top is pushing on his tower. Meanwhile, this bloke is catching the wave down here. And that's how you kind of secure an easy top tier 2. So keep an eye on Poby. He really wants to push out deep here once or twice. Probably Mikyx is going to put on vision so he can kind of do it himself, so Mikyx can be topside, but now it is really about this side lane push. Poby really wants it, but he has to wait for his Jarvan. Jarvan is still really far away, and it's important not to make a mistake here, because this is a very crucial point for your setup.
Okay, so they're going to go for the dragon first, and then they can enact the sequence. Connect the dots like you talked about. can use the Rift Herald mid here as well to apply pressure while they go for the Dragon, but they're in such a strong position that they don't actually need another prong to their, I was going to say pentant, like it's a trident, quadrant, pentant. I guess it's a sixth prong to their trident.
Hextant?
Hextant, yeah, we'll do it with that one.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the mid tower is quite low. You really want to get 2 towers with this Herald.
Yeah.
You can allow to be a little bit greedy when you're winning the game this hard. And
True.
Probably now you see Mikyx base, and it's most likely going to open up topside again. And now you're going to see the sequence that's talked about before.
Yep, there we go.
I was a little bit preemptive with that, but now Mikyx is trying to make another flanking cow running into the enemy jungle. You also see red buff spawning. This could be a venue of attack for Fnatic. As you see, they're trying to really deny this side lane push for Poby, but Poby is very respectful, very demure, very mindful of this attack. Really kind of making sure he doesn't die on side lane, like... I'm not going to say that.
That was good. That was very, there was massive laughs in the audience when you said very respectful, very demure. I thought it was very funny. But yeah, I agree with you. Like, you can see Mikyx goes in, gets the vision control. And for BDS, like, camping out in bushes the way they've been doing is kind of all they've got, right? They do not have the front to back in a team fight right now. Their Sion's not tanky enough and their damage just isn't there. They do not have great pick potential either, because really it's only the Rakan and Zhao that can catch someone out. And even if they do pick someone off, you're dealing with double TPs available for Fnatic, which means immediately the response can come in and the Realm Warp alongside that. Rooster here trying to defend on the top side. Now we see, as you say, Fnatic moving up through... Oh, that was a very wiggly line. Fnatic moving up through that top side jungle. Razork not even going to invest the Rift Tower. They know they've got this tower already. They can use it for the mid tier 2. They can hold onto it for that next objective. Artican's up in 30 seconds. That's on the bottom side of the map. And so you do want to translate some of your vision control down there, which is, again, why we see Mikyx going for that recall. He'll then probably open up through mid into the bot side to make sure they have some vision.
It's exactly as you say. I think if it was not for the Atakan, we'd probably see the Herald being used topside. They would extend the play a little bit. But now, if they actually go for that topside play, maybe they can use catch on the tower with Sion, and then suddenly BDS is in a position to go 4-man bot and rush that Atakan. So once again, Fnatic showing great discipline, great patience, and great precision with their gameplay. And they're just taking all the proper steps right now, not being very sloppy with their lead.
Which is not a Fnatic thing.
Yes, very, very uncharacteristic from Fnatic.
For years, we've talked about them as the team that oversteps, that misplays around their timers, that gets a little bit too greedy here. But patient, methodical. You could look at the top of the scoreboard, look at the kills, and be like, oh, it's a relatively even game. But because Fnatic have taken their time about things, just slowly eked out this gold lead, it's now 4K ahead. 2,500 of that is in the AD carry role. And a lot of it comes off Razork and Mikyx being a really good team together. Stepping in at the same time, getting vision early, and then making sure that BDS can't control their own jungle.
I was just going to say that I think Razork had an absolutely stellar game so far on the Jarvan. I think he's done exactly what was needed of him. He's done all the jobs he had to do, and he's been very patient. He's never went for an engage, really, because he hasn't had to.
Yeah, apart from the dives.
Apart from the dives, yeah. But in general, like, I don't think he's used ult a single time, maybe once or twice, but in general, he's been very positional with his gameplay, because he doesn't have to force anything, because there's no impatience. Like the impatience should be in BDS's roster right now, because they have to make something happen, because they're slowly losing the game.
Artican has been begun by Fnatic. Rooster has the teleport currently up in the top lane, catching that wave. Oscarinin TP's down. Artican already down to 5,000 HP. TP coming in from Rooster, but it's going to be too late to contest the Artican. Maybe a fight afterwards? I think not. Fnatic can walk away from this one, and they do so justly. Very easy for them to take that good vision control. Well played around it. For BDS now, you are really struggling. You've lost Artican, Rift Herald, timed out. Again, we talked about where it could have been used. This is much more a Fnatic had to come down to the Artican, like you were saying, so the Rift Herald will end up just dying here probably before it even gets a charge off. Depends if Nuke decides to step forward. He's got enough vision. There's no real wave there, so maybe it will. Oh, there is a wave there. That was lost under Nuke's portrait on the minimap for me, so yeah, unlikely this Artican will, this Rift Herald will charge it.
Maybe his name is Artican.
It could be.
Yeah.
Like, Rift Herald is a corrupted scuttlecrap.
Yes.
That's its lore. So maybe Artican, I mean, the problem is I know the lore of Artican and it's not a corrupted Rift Herald.
Well, yeah. It was overshot.
It was good,
so,
you know?
Now let's talk about what can BDS do. Because the game is slipping out of their hands, and let's actually see what angles you can kind of find. I think what you have going for you is this Sion side lane push. I think Roosters had Sion push for a long time this game, and I think they need to find a way to integrate him into the team. I think he needs to find either like a deep push on the side, where he then recalls, and then opens the other side with his ult, because then he can cheat a lot of tempo. Or the other opportunity is for our man in the support role, Parus, to find a mega flank. A mega flank that he can kind of catch either upset or Poby off guard and get a quick pick to kind of hinder the follow-up engage from Fnatic. Those are your only real two avenues right now as BDS, and the game is slipping out of your hands. This dragon is spawning, but in a 5v5 setting, I don't see them really contesting Fnatic.
It's just going to be so difficult, especially if Upset can land some poke before the fight. There's an LDR and a collector on ice, so he does have something. Razork goes to the engage, jumps onto ice. There's a Realm Warp follow-up, and ice doesn't have a way out of here. Poby with the flank in the end. BDS step forward, but nothing belongs to them. A double for Oscar to round it out. Third Drake alongside it. Fnatic 7k ahead.
That's just it, baby. I mean, there's not much you can do from BDS. If you opt in for this 5v5, that's exactly what's gonna happen. I feel like it's really hard, right? You don't want to give them soul point, but you don't really have a good cross match. So you kind of go there, look for finding something, but really good flank by Razork going through mid lane in this little vision pocket that BDS had left open. Gets a really good, forces the Aphelios flash with his combo and then ults him. So it's just nothing Ice can really do here.
It's also BDS just being a bit greedy, right? Like, yes, you want to contest. Gorgeous, as Upset says. Yes, you want to contest, but 4 members walking forward without vision on your flanks, without vision of the Ryze who can realm warp onto your backline. Like, the Jarvan didn't actually even need to find a perfect flank, because he could have just been realm warped in and then cataclysm them all, or EQ them all, right? It was a little bit greedy from BDS. It feels like they've run out of options in this game, so they were just going for the person who was in front of them. Yeah,
10k gold lead and counting right now almost. It's slipping over 7.5, sorry.
I mean, but if we add in the Articon, that's like another 2k
yeah,
or so.
The dragon,
so 10k,
okay.
Yeah.
I see you.
I'll give you 10k.
Thank you.
I won't actually give you 10k.
Okay, no, I heard you say that, so
okay.
I'll be in touch. Look, this tower is like the last standing bastion of BDS defense. I think you gotta go for a fight here. You gotta try to get like a Viktor ult reset. You gotta go to get a quick pick, a snap engage by the Rakan. Because if you give this tower, suddenly it's so easy to get all this control and set up the Baron. And yeah, it's a tough one, man. It's a tough one, and I want to see BDS do it, but I struggle to see many avenues right now. I don't think the draft gives them the tools to kind of come back these games, you know?
Yeah, especially since every lane is basically an item, half an item to a full item behind. It's just so tricky in these sorts of situations. Parus caught out a little bit by Mikyx and Razork, who'll clear out this control ward. You can see a couple of wards from BDS just around their red side jungle, but those will be cleaned out by the support jungle combo of Fnatic. Razork starting up the Baron here. We'll clear out these.
Look at that poke on ice.
Yeah, he's already half HP.
I think that was 1 Q from Upset, or maybe 2.
I mean, he's double lethality Manamune, right? Like, he is a very, very strong Varus right now. Nuke trying to step forward. Razork and Poby working on the Baron together. It's already down to 5,000. Unstoppable Onslaught can be blocked out by Mikyx. Equalizer down as well, as Mikyx finds the 3-man knock-up Realm Warp onto the backline. Immediately, they look for the Aphelios, who's only got cleave from Gravitum, and those are not good enough guns to win out the fight. Parus follows his AD carry into the grave. Rooster follows suit. Boukada and Nuke will die too. It's an 8-for-1 in favor of Fnatic.
Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous turn by Fnatic. You start the Baron, and then you insta-turn it. Razork gets 1,000 kills in the LEC. Incredible performance by him. I think it's a beautiful game to kind of highlight his impact on this league and in general over his career. But yeah, textbook play by Fnatic. You start the Baron with your jungler and your Ryze. Now, when the enemies approach, you turn with the Ryze ult, and your jungler, guess what? He flies along. He hitchhikes on the Ryze ult, and it's just so easy. They just make it seem so easy. It's not that easy. A lot of teams mess this up. I've seen many teams mess this up. But Fnatic did it very beautiful.
It's about coordination on the court.
Exactly.
That's what Fnatic showed us really well there, right? Because it's so easy for the jungler to be like, oh no, finish quickly, then we'll realm warp. Let's do this, let's do this. Double TPs coming out from BDS as they look to catch out Oscarinin. And I've said that a few times this game, and I'm pretty sure Oscar's done for. Equalizer down onto Parus. He'll pop the heal. Oscarinin, I mean, there's nothing really he can do in this situation. Does have the flash, could try and get away. Will dodge the wind, becomes lightning, but perhaps he can just escape. Nuke across the wall, will follow him. Razork now in. There's no way Oscar survives that. He gets another scrap shield. Mickey there to body block. Fnatic now going in, and Parus falls to Razork. Cataclysm in, but Razork's really deep here. He's going to get shut down. Nuke killed off by Upset. Rooster and Boukada trying to get away. Upset looking for the chase onto Rooster with a TP coming in from Oscarinin. He wants his vengeance, wants revenge on the enemy top laner who consistently hounded him this game. Mikyx there, got the knockup, dives forward as Ice takes him out, but Poby realm walks in after pushing in the top lane in his tower and will take the kill in the end. It's Parus and Boukada left alive to defend against Upset, Poby and Oscarinin.
Oscar just make it interesting. The last I mean, I was gonna hype. I mean, it was a big shutdown in Ice's pocket, but I don't think he's gonna be able to spend that gold and use it for the next fight because I think Fnatic is just taking their nexus in front of their face.
Yeah, still 30 seconds before Ice is back up. Nuke up in 5. Parus trying to dive in, but Upset dodges him. And Fnatic will close out the game. Nuke spawns to see his nexus fall. 17,500 gold lead for Fnatic at the end of it.
Domination, desecration, destruction by Fnatic this game. Just immaculate play, really impressive. This is why Varus is banned globally almost every single game.